Hello, everyone. We're just going to give everyone a few seconds to pop in and say hello. This is a typical Zoom setup, so many of you are now familiar with it. If you go to the bottom of your screen, you're going to see the chat functionality. This is an interactive session. We're going to put you to work. So my colleague Carol is on with me. Hi, Carol. She's one of our business strategists. She's here with me today. In the background, we have Julian, who's our marketing Zoom guru. He's going to be making sure the recording's happening and any technical issues are resolved as we have them. My name is Linda Griffin, and I'm the Education Programs Coordinator with BusinessLink. Welcome to Bring Your Business Idea to Life. So I'm going to make this as interactive as possible. First thing we're going to do is, Carol, I'm going to have you pop the handouts into chat and make that available to everyone. You're set to host some panelists, so let's make that everyone as you drop down and go into chat. And there you go. Let's see. Who do we have on today? Can you introduce yourselves in chat? Everyone who's here today, I'd love to see who you are and if you have a business name and what kind of business you have already or what kind of business plan you are putting into place for your business. A hush falls over the crowd. Hello, everyone. Feel free to launch into chat and say hello and introduce yourself in chat. And Carol, I see our handouts are not working for everyone. So
sorry about that. I will get that to you right away.
Okay. This is why we test. Hi, Alex. Nice to meet you. Alexandra. Junia, nice to meet you as well. Who here already has a business? And if you have a business, what's the name and what type of business is it? Ah, it worked, Carol. Yay. So Ken, Deal Locally, a business that supports independent local business and community organizations. Nice to meet you, Ken. For everyone who's on this meeting today, pop into chat. Carol has just dropped a link in, and I want to make sure we're testing this link to make sure you're getting all of the handouts and all the interactive materials for today's session. I do want to make sure that's happening before we get going. And while that's happening, if you can open it and give me a thumbs up in chat that it's working for you and you see a whole bunch of PDFs and a screen in front of you, then we can get going on some of those pieces. In the meantime, let's start with our land acknowledgement. BusinessLink acknowledges and respects that we are on traditional land, meeting grounds, territories, gathering places, and traveling routes of Treaty 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10, and the home to many First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge the lands of those who've come before us, reside here now and in the future. Ooh, Alexander, very early stages of digital marketing for fashion and an app. Very exciting. Okay, so we have people here of all kinds of different industries, which is really great. So I'm going to give the quick overview of who we are, and then we're going to jump right into it because it's more about who you are today as opposed to who we are. So we're going to start very. We are Alberta's business hub. We are a nonprofit organization funded by the Government of Canada and the Government of Alberta. We've been around since 1996, helping all Albertans access startup and business resources across Canada and across the province. We also have specialized programs for Indigenous and immigrant entrepreneurs as well. Think of us as 311 or 811 for entrepreneurs. If you call into us, you'll talk to a strategist, such as Carol, who's on today, or many of our other strategists, and they will guide you through the process of figuring out what kind of business advice you're looking for, where to get it, maybe what education programs we may have in place to help you, or where to go to other places to get the help you need. So that's what we're here for. We're here to direct traffic and direct you around all the resources, because unlike the early 90s when I started my first business and there were no resources for entrepreneurs, we now have so many resources that it can be almost overwhelming to know where to begin. And that's what we're going to start with today, is where to begin. So for all of you on this today, one of the things I want to direct you to as a very helpful resource, not today. I don't want everyone to be overwhelmed by our interactive business planner today, but as you start to develop your idea, and that's what we're going to work on today, is developing what is an idea and what's the difference between having an idea and having a business model. We're going to talk about that a bit in depth, and we're going to build out a one-page business plan. Once you get the confidence there, I highly encourage you to head on over to businesslink.ca, and Carol's going to pop in the interactive business planner, and I'm just going to head to the main page. This is the main page for businesslink.ca. If you're looking for our interactive business planner, you can drop down from the resources section and hit on that. That is a fully interactive online business planner that comes with help videos, sample Q&As, all of the good things you need to build out maybe a bit more of a comprehensive business plan. If you're applying for funding, if you're applying for programming from other organizations or from the government, they're going to want to probably see a very comprehensive business plan. This is our helpful interactive business plan builder that you can use. But let's get your feet wet a bit today with what we're going to do before you tackle something like that. I don't want everybody to get overwhelmed. In the chat, please let me know, are you at idea stage, which means you're less than 6 months old and you're building out your first idea and business plan and you haven't started really anything except exploration? Are you in startup? Maybe you've registered your business or you're in the process of doing that and you're developing your first set of clients and you're about 6 months to a year old. Are you in the 1 to 3 year stage where you're struggling a bit with growth, how to do it, and where's the money going to come from? And are you in 3+ years where you really maybe want to pivot or maybe want to expand, and you know enough to be dangerous and you know enough to build your business even further? I want to know where you're at, so we have a bit of a lay of the land. So Alexandra's indicated she's in startup. Yay. Okay. So you've put a few pieces in place already. That's great. We have Kirsten, who's in expanding. Wonderful. So the work we do today can be used for either startup or expanding. I know that when I started my first business, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I went around for 4 or 5 years not knowing what I didn't know and hit a wall. And what today's session is about is maybe why you hit the wall and how to pivot and grow as well, or little steps you could take, little things you can do to make that next step happen. Because I'll be honest, I think expanding and growth is much harder than startup. It's almost easier to just have the idea and then run with it in all the excitement and passion for it. But when you hit expansion, chances are you are a little bit tired. Maybe you've worked 60 hours a week and you feel you've hit a wall, and it becomes really difficult to figure out, how am I going to go to the next level when I have all of these things happening, but I don't know how to pull them together and make it work. So that can definitely be almost more of a struggle for folks. So today, we're going to talk about why people start businesses. There's different reasons. Some people start a business because they want the freedom to make choices about their time and how they earn their money and their ability to earn as much as they want. You don't necessarily get that in a job, but you certainly can get that from starting a business. Others are starting a business because they want to solve a problem. They see a problem in the world and they want to fix it and feel that whatever solution they're coming up with is something that might be useful and they might be able to derive a business from. Some people start a business, and I know I started my first one because I needed to. I had no other skills and I was not able to find a job, and the job I had was disappearing, so I needed to. It was necessity. Um, so here you go. Whatever your reason, it's all fine. It doesn't matter. Business is business is business. So today we're going to talk about business just like we would talk about physics, just like we would talk about science. There is um, rules about business. There are things that are applicable across any kind of business you start. We're going to understand the 3 roles you play in your business. We're going to understand what the difference is between having an idea and creating a working business model. We're going to identify 5 key systems that keep your business running. We're going to talk about the important role of manager in your business. We're going to work with some basic planning tools to simplify your startup, or maybe even to take your existing business and take a step back before you expand and make sure you really understand what it is you want to do moving forward. We're going to talk about some key resources for planning. So a lot of that stuff is in the handout materials that Carol has been putting into place for everyone here. Okay, I am going to test my share. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to watch a video. And before I do it, I'm just going to make sure I have the sound on. I never do that. So I'm going to make sure I have the sound on and that everyone can hear this. So Carol, you're going to give me a thumbs up if you can hear this in a minute.
Business ownership is an appealing career choice for all kinds of people. Owning a business allows you to be the master of your time and income. However, it's important to understand the commitment of time, energy, and lifelong learning that's involved in owning a business. In this video, we'll look at the overall picture of life as an entrepreneur. Is your mind constantly spinning with new ideas? Are you full of enthusiasm for a specific product or idea and get excited about creating a company around it? Are you inspired by organization and processes? No matter what inspires you, any reason is a good reason to become an entrepreneur. Understanding your core strengths will help you identify where to spend your time, what skills you need to learn, and which positions you should hire for. Here are the 3 most common roles a business owner may take on. The visionary. In this role, you lead your company, inspire your team, and create a vision for the future. Being a visionary can feel lonely. Your ideas could be ahead of their time, or the marketplace may not embrace you right away. Your amazing ideas are limited by your ability to build the systems and processes needed to bring your vision to the market. The technician. Here, you're involved in the day-to-day work and performing all the tasks yourself, answering all the calls, returning all the messages, and sorting, building, and shipping the products. Being a technician places you in the role of employee in your company. If you are completing all the tasks all the time, you risk burnout. Remember, employees work limited hours, receive benefits, and can leave their work problems behind at the end of the week. If you're the person responsible for all the work in your business, the company cannot grow. The manager. In this role, you build the processes and systems that keep the company running. Great managers find a way to let their teams do the job and pull themselves back from the day-to-day work. Which of these roles feels most natural to you? At different stages of your business, the roles you play may change. Entrepreneurs often find themselves stuck in the role of technician or employee. For many, learning the role of manager is the most difficult. If you tend to be a technician or visionary, then management will feel uncomfortable. It may help you to think about starting a business in the same way as starting a professional career. Just like many professions require extra years of learning, owning a business means spending extra time solving problems and learning new skills. Professionals spend their careers maintaining specialized skills. As a professional entrepreneur, you'll be learning new skills and identifying where you need to grow to keep pace with the changing marketplace. The difference between you and other professionals is that you'll identify which specialized skills to learn for yourself and which ones are best outsourced to others. For example, many business owners try to learn a skill such as bookkeeping to better manage their company finances and then get stuck completing this task for too long. While bookkeeping is important, it's a skill that can be outsourced inexpensively. A more important skill to focus on would be learning the language of finance and how to apply key financial strategies to growing the business. Always ask, is this task something I should be doing myself, or are my skills better applied to growing my business? If you wish to grow, then it's time to put on your manager hat and learn how to delegate basic skills in your business. If you ask this question about every task you're performing and every skill you're building, then you're learning how to work on your business instead of. Business ownership is an appealing career choice for all kinds of visionary, then management and specialized skills. As a professional entrepreneur, you'll be learning new skills and identifying where you need to grow to keep pace with the changing marketplace. The difference between you and other professionals is that you'll identify which specialized skills to learn for yourself and which ones are best outsourced to others. For example, many business owners try to learn a skill such as bookkeeping to better manage their company finances and then get stuck completing this task for too long. While bookkeeping is important, it's a skill that can be outsourced inexpensively. A more important skill to focus on would be learning the language of finance and how to apply key financial strategies to growing the business. Always ask, is this task something I should be doing myself, or are my skills better applied to growing my business? If you wish to grow, then it's time to put on your manager hat and learn how to delegate basic skills in your business. If you ask this question about every task you're performing and every skill you're building, then you're learning how to work on your business instead of in your business. Remember, you didn't sign up for a career as an entrepreneur to work 60 to 80 hours a week. Your business should work for you, not the other way around. It's a wise investment of time to build your manager skills so that you can enjoy more time outside of your business. Once you put on your manager hat, you'll see how important it is to build a team of support around you. It's a myth that businesses are built by one person going it alone in the world. Your team may include advisors, such as an accountant, bookkeeper, and lawyer you hire for specific needs. It can also be your network of informal advisors built through attending industry events and workshops. Reach out to organizations such as Community Futures and Business Link, who can provide business support and link you to even more resources for financing and planning. If you are becoming an entrepreneur to enjoy more time off and financial freedom, be sure to communicate with your friends and family about your career choice. They're the most important member of your team. There may be times during your business career where work-life balance doesn't seem so balanced, or finances may be tight, and their support matters. A rewarding career as an entrepreneur is all about doing the work that matters. Your mission is to take an idea from planning to reality and beyond. Recognize the components of the work you do, implement, monitor, and improve the systems to make your dream happen. Learn to appreciate the ideas and energy from others that contribute to your success. Don't be afraid to take a step back. Assess where you need help. It's all part of your professional development as you build a rewarding entrepreneurial career.
Okay, so who here understood that when they were starting their business, they were embarking on a new career and actually having to think of it as a career? I know I didn't when I started, but one of the reasons we talk about that a lot is because you're going to develop a whole myriad of skills in order to do this new thing, which is called running and building a business. So one of the things I want to talk about very briefly with you are these three roles. And I didn't come up with the three main roles you play in your business. I'm not always that smart. So the three roles are entrepreneur, manager, and technician. There's a wonderful coaching program out there and a wonderful business coach who's been around for, I don't know, 80 years or more. He's very known in the industry. He works with the Small Business Administration in the US. His name is Michael Gerber, and he's written a series of books, and he has a program called the E-Myth, and Carol has put that into chat for you. It's really Michael Gerber who's come up with some of this concept around what is entrepreneurship and how does it work. So if everyone wants to just take a moment and let me know in chat, what role do you identify with most? There's no right or wrong answer, but people naturally tend to fit into one of these three roles just by default. So which one do you think you are as you start or as you've been in business for a while? What seems most natural to you? I wouldn't mind some feedback from people here as to, yeah, technician, we have technician. So that's the person who's in it, building the product or service. People who tend to be in the trades, people who tend to be craftspeople, people who tend to be the maker of the product or service or the deliverer of it, consultants, for example. That is an example of people who tend to sway into technician mode. Does anyone here else feel like they're in technician mode, building and creating the product that they are doing? Yeah, all of them depending on the day. Absolutely. So you are going to wear all those hats. You absolutely are in your business. I'm not going to lie. You will wear those hats. Which one is the most frequent for you, or the one that feels the simplest and easiest to do for you, is really what we're looking for here. So people, you can feel free to type that in. What I want you to do as you think about building your business as a career is to start your business library. And the first book I want you to add to your library, if you don't already have it, is a book called The E-Myth Revisited. So you can visit the Michael Gerber page there and put that one into place. It's the one in his series that's probably most relevant for you when you start is called The E-Myth Revisited. It's a very simple book to read. It talks about how a lot of people, or it follows a woman who owns a bakery, a pie shop, and just talks about a day in the life of her. And you'll recognize a lot of pieces of you in this book. And it's important to just identify that as you move forward in your business. Okay, we're finally getting to handouts. Yay! So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the pre-planning piece. Most of you are doing that already in some way, shape, or form. It's always helpful to know that when you start a business, you're probably going to wait 6 months to a year for any kind of paycheck when you start. If you are a startup in the world of apps and technology and things like that, chances are you're spending your first year looking for money as you're building out your app or your new piece of technology, and that the people supplying you with money are going to drop lots of it in your lap with the expectation that either it's going to give them a return of 10 times or more, or none at all, but you won't be sitting worrying about this piece so much. But if you are starting a regular business, like most of us are, then one of the things you want to think about as you go along is how am I going to support myself while this thing gets off the ground? And realistically, you're looking at maybe thinking about having 6 months to a year of money supporting you behind the scenes. The reality is that most banks, most lenders, no one is going to lend to you as a startup. So you're going to have to self-finance yourself on startup. While there are programs out there that help you somewhat on startup, you'll need that business plan. You'll need to fit into a box. You'll need to go to the Canada Business Benefits Finder, and you're going to need to figure out if you fit into any of those programs. And you're going to have to work for those as part of building your startup. So, but you're not going to just be able to walk into a bank and get lending on your business idea. A bank, a traditional lender, will not lend to you for that. What they will lend to you for is your personal financial capability of being able to pay back the loan. So they're going to look at your personal finances. They're going to look at your personal ability to pay the loan back. We do a lot of talking about that in our financial fundamentals piece of the program. So that handout, the startup guide, this is in the startup guide. If you go to the handouts, you'll see a little bit of a checklist in there, what to think about as you get started, but just some basics, because it's not going to be easy to generate that income in year one. You also want to think about doing modest amounts of research, market research. We have one of our market research gurus with us today, which is Carol Webster, sitting in the background. The market research that you do for your company is two types, primary and secondary. We also run a workshop on that. And you can also reach out to BusinessLink and talk about market research with us as well, because you kind of want to know who is your competitor, what might your ideal client be, and what is the industry you're in. The second you know what industry you're in, the second you know what a NAICS code is, the second you know those things, you can gather all kinds of information that helps you move your business forward. So Carol's dropping lots of links into chat for you to learn more about market research. And we do have a 90-minute session on what the heck it is and how the heck to do it. I don't want to focus on it today because we're just doing some basic get yourself organized and started and how to think about business. So we're going to do that a little bit today. What I really want to get to is what is the difference between a business idea and a business model? I don't want anyone to leave this session today with only a business idea. I want you to leave with the ability to build a business model. Okay, so we're going to put all the Lego blocks together today on building a business model. So a business idea is an idea you may have about offering a product or service for money. So some examples we've already got. Let's go up. I'm going to go up into chat. And Ken has a business that supports independent and local businesses and community organizations. That's his business idea. Alexandra has a very early stages of developing a digital app for marketing and fashion. That's a business idea. Anyone else want to throw their business idea into chat and see what your business idea is? If you want to share, that's great. If you don't have to. But saying anything like, I would like to sell digital courses online, that's a business idea. Or I would like to start a drop shipping business on Shopify, that's a business idea. On the other hand, okay, counseling for first responders, that's your business idea. Perfect. That's where we all start. We all start with that. A working business model are all the systems that you're going to develop to work together to generate money from the sale of your product or service. So that's your model. The idea is the thing that you wish to deliver. That's your deliverable. The model are all the systems and processes you put into place to deliver that thing out the door. So how do you know if it's going to work? How do you know how to put those systems together? Well, we're going to start by building a one-page business plan and talk about all the different processes that work together to get that idea out to market. Everyone, I want you to turn to the one-page business plan outline in the handout guide. And I'm going to stop the share here and I'm going to share the handout pages briefly so that everybody knows what I am talking about and can see what we're going to work on very quickly. We're going to do a brief workout here on this, and then we will move from there. So everyone, I want you to go to this, your handouts that Carol has put in chat for you. We're going to go to the Small Business Startup Guide. That's this one right here. And we've already talked about the checklist. Let's talk about this page in the startup guide. If you don't have it open, but you want to take out a good old-fashioned pen and paper in the background, you're welcome to do that. And this is interactive. So I'm not moving forward until we have a whole bunch of people who have started this process with me. Okay. So now we know what your business idea is. I want to start a counseling business. I want to start a fashion business. I want to start a business that connects people digitally online, whatever that may be. Okay. Next, what I want you to think about is what is the problem your business is solving? Did you know that people buy things for just two reasons? Does anyone want to guess what those two reasons might be? Why do you think people buy stuff? Is it because they need something? Is that why they buy stuff? Anyone want to guess why people buy stuff? Ah, here's a smart one. Pain. Yep, pain is one of them. Pain is the big one, actually. So people buy things because they want to eliminate pain. What is the second reason they buy things? There's a lot of neuroscience and research on this, by the way. Pleasure. People buy for two reasons. They want to eliminate pain or they want to gain pleasure. In some cases, you may be in the business of doing both. So if you're Starbucks, and Carol knows this, Carol's like, oh my God, Linda just paid $14 to have Starbucks delivered to her at her last staff meeting. I will pay copious amounts of money to have it delivered. It is my guilty pleasure. So it's a pleasure for me. It also eliminates the pain of the caffeine headache that I might be getting if I don't get it. So it's a little bit of both. So that's an example of both. I could get coffee anywhere, really, I could, and I could go pick it up and I could do those things. But why do people buy? For in my case, it's pleasure. It's a guilty pleasure. It's a simplicity for me, whatever that may be. So what business are you in? What is the problem you are solving for people on an emotional level? And are you in the business of eliminating pain or creating pleasure for people? So you need to build that into this answer. And when we go into the next lean one-page business plan template, we'll talk about it a little bit deeper. But what problem are you solving for people? You need to know that first. What's the problem you're solving? Because nobody buys for price, ever. Just let's be clear on that. Nobody purchases something from you because of the price. The only businesses in the world where price matters are gigantic, enormous companies that have the GDP of large countries such as Amazon, Walmart, those places. That is a complete and total and utter price play and monopoly play and everything else for those organizations. And in their case and in their example, they can compete on price because they are so large, they can grind their suppliers to nothing and they can drop their prices to nothing and they can supplement things that they lose money on with things that they make money on in their business, and they are large enough to do that. You will not in your small business be competing that way. Over time, if you wish to be that competitor, you will be expanding into that direction potentially, depending on the kind of business you have. But as you start and as you start to niche market yourself, you are not going to be there. I do not want you to start there. Okay, that's why we're talking about pleasure and pain. And you do not have to be a small business to be a niche marketing business. One of the largest companies in the world is a niche marketer and only has maybe 10 to 12% of the marketplace. Apple. And none of the products you purchase from Apple are inexpensive. None of them. They are very expensive. They are very well designed. They have a huge, huge revenue and profit in their business, but they are a niche marketing business. They have a very small amount of people who are their ideal clients. They have a very small amount of the marketplace. Okay. Does anyone want to share a problem they're solving or a pleasure they're giving to their customers? Unia, we are not sending an email with all these links. You have to bookmark that link with all the handouts. We're making you work for it, Unia. You're going to work for it. This is a 90-minute workshop. I've called it workshop for a reason. You're working. We're working. I want you to be busy working. I want you to get moving. So yes, you're going to frantically grab these links out of chat and you're going to figure out what the problem is your business is solving. Absolutely. Supporting, fulfilling first responders' careers. Okay, Kirsten, I'm going to pick on you a little bit. Thank you for sharing. I'm really glad you're sharing. I hope not to pick on you so much, but I'm going to ask, oops, I'm going to ask if you would like to unmute. Maybe we can get you unmuted. And I'm going to allow you to talk. Oops, where are we? First.
I'm muted here. Can you hear me?
Perfect. I can hear you.
Perfect.
Okay. Is that a pleasure or a pain? Supporting, fulfilling first responders' career. What problem are you solving for them?
I think pain at this point, but hopefully moving
Okay.
to
So
pleasure.
what is the painful thing they're experiencing that you want to help them overcome?
They are, as a population, they're unsupported by employers, and so they don't they're burning out of their careers really early.
Okay. So one of the problems you're solving is career burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the problem you're solving for them. Why are they burning out?
Overworked, overwhelmed. I think it's a poor, like, well, not a poor, but an inadequate coping skills matched to the actual like demands of the job.
Okay. Perfect. So that's it. They're not getting the employer supports to cope with the demands of their job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is the solution you're offering?
Counseling. So I offer trauma counseling, as well as occupational stress injuries, so anxiety, stress, insomnia. So very clinical treatments for like the conditions that people usually come with that have been working as first responders. So like insomnia that comes with working shift work, or like
Okay.
anxiety that comes with being overwhelmed consistently.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you being put on the spot and sharing that. I really do appreciate that because it really has helped me sort of work with you for this part of the plan. So thank you for
Mm-hmm.
that.
Thank you.
Okay, so the problem you're solving is a multitude of problems. You can write them all down. Just this is you slapping down the first thing that comes to your mind. So everyone who's on this workshop right now, the first thing that comes to your mind is what are the problems you're solving? And did you notice that it's very emotionally based when we ask you about that? Right? The problem is burnout, it's stress, it's overwork, it's feeling unsupported by your employer. It's feeling this thing, feeling that thing. What are the feelings? You are tapping into people's feelings. If you've taken any sales training at all, and I've taken lots of sales training, the first thing you're doing when you're selling something is you're tapping into people's feelings. So it's very important for you to tap into that right away as you're building out your businesses. What are the things that your potential clients around you feel? And how are you solving something for them from a feeling-based standpoint? So there are the things they're feeling, all the painful feelings they're having. What is the solution your business offers? Okay, this is where you go from we're just offering counseling, or we're offering a platform, or we're offering this one thing, to we are offering you the world. So if you've identified those painful feelings and what those painful things are, and you've identified names for those things, then the next thing is to identify names for solutions that you're offering. So maybe, I don't know who's in the fashion app building space. Is that you, Alexandra? Are you that? Alexandra, can I put you on the spot? Is that okay? Because I think that's interesting. Yay, that's you. Okay. Are you willing to be put on the spot? Because I'm going to unmute you if you are. Let me find my unmute button. I'm really slow at this. Give me time. Here you go. About to talk. So I've allowed you to talk. Go ahead. Tell me what your idea is and what the problem is you're solving or the pleasure you're providing is.
Hi, Linda. Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Great, great. Sorry, I'm unmuted. Well, so I wasn't sure what the question was there, but for myself, it's very early stages. And right now I'm trying to see what I can provide in terms of details because I'm not sure. I haven't, I'm in the stage of where I need to find out how to actually build the app and then also any kind of legal or kind of like proprietary pieces for that app. My
Okay.
other business is just digital marketing. So basically that's just blogging and selecting certain types of fashions from online and kind of curating it online. So I'm not sure which one would be probably better for this example.
Okay, let's do fashion curation.
Okay,
Let's say you're in the fashion curating business.
yes. And
Okay,
so,
so what
yeah.
is the pleasure you're bringing and who are you bringing it to?
Okay, so basically, at a high level, I would be creating fashion pieces for people that are looking for specific kinds of clothing. So it's more like there's all different kinds of categories of clothing, but these are more kind of like dresses, like feminine fashion from across online in different price ranges. So what that would be doing is just helping people to curate that once those pieces arrive online and just help to build kind of wardrobes and outfits. So maybe more, I think it could be a little bit of both. So your question had me thinking about that in the background because a little bit is, pleasure in fashion. If you like to dress up and you like to, if you like just fashion, then that's kind of helping you, get more of that fashion and find it online where can take people some time to actually find those things. So I do that right away and find the right types of brands and all this stuff. And then also it solves the pain because you don't have to spend as much time shopping. It's right there. It's so much easier when somebody actually suggests and they find it right away. Like this is the latest fashion drop from Zara, for example. Can pick out some of those pieces and somebody doesn't have to do that shopping. They're spending more time, they're working, they're busy with their lives and all this kind of stuff. But later on in the day, they can pop online, they can see all these recommendations. We like these and this is kind of like our style. So you can just kind of purchase it and I've curated that. So I feel like it solves a bit of both. That makes sense.
It absolutely does. If you're a
Okay.
person like me, and there's lots of science and psychology around this, there's only so much that the human brain can take in a day.
Yes, we're
If you
bombarded
are
a
a
lot.
person, if you are a person like me, and there's lots of science around this too, if you walk into, for example, if you walk into a giant shoe warehouse store,
Mhm.
some people will spend the whole afternoon in that store loving it. I have a partner who loves to go into stores and just browse and shop and dig and find those things because the pleasure they get is the pleasure of doing that.
Mhm.
I, on the other hand, walk into place and I am completely overwhelmed. My brain does not want to deal with it. I need things set up in a nice, tidy fashion for me. If you send me to the junk teak store or whatever else, I can't, I don't like it. I don't like dealing with it. It's not what I like to do. I just want to get my piece of whatever and get the heck out. And I'm generally looking for simplicity. So the problem you are solving is not for the people who love to browse and shop. The problem
Mhm.
you're solving is people who don't like to browse and shop, but still want to have the wardrobe experience of the people who managed to put it together for themselves through hours, countless hours of browsing and shopping. I want to be the person who looks like the person who does that, but I don't want to
Yeah.
have to go through all the background of having to do that.
It takes a lot of
That's
time. It does take a
it's
lot of time. And
it's
some people,
time.
like you said, they find the pleasure in shopping and going through myself. I prefer online. That's the easiest for me. I can do it any time of the day. don't have to go to the mall if I don't want to, but then you see everything right there. So if you,
Right.
my market is like the specific kind of like niche of the type of style that people might like. And then if you like that style, then I would have curated that for you and going along with anything like fashion and beauty and eventually lifestyle type of topics and all these kind of things for home and whatnot, but focusing just on one segment, building that out first. So
Okay, so
that's,
now we're rounding out the first three questions. So for everyone following around, we're now at ideal customer. Alexandra's ideal customer is not everyone. It's
mhm,
not the person who loves to go and find things and discover. It's not the discovery client, the one who
yeah.
likes to go around discovering things.
Mhm,
It's the client who likes to look like they went around discovering things without having to spend all the time doing it. I want to look just as put together as the gal next to me, with that kind of fashion sense without having to put the work in. It's work to me to do it. So I don't want to put the work in, and I will pay someone like Alexandra, or I will use a service like Alexandra's to make that happen for me while I'm busy spending my time doing other things I like to do,
mhm,
such as golf, ski, anything but
yeah,
that. Okay, so that's who your ideal client is in that case. In
mhm,
some businesses, you're going to have more than one ideal client. Maybe you have a bunch of different things going on in your business, a few different products or services that meet the needs of different market segments. So into market segmenting we go, and your ideal client is different in each of those segments, and you're going to speak differently to those people in your messaging and in all the channels you use for your messaging. So you may have social channels, you may have online channels, um, you may have direct marketing channels, you may have channels of ways to make sales. But if you're starting a business, the thing you need to know is all about marketing. And here's what we're teaching you today about marketing. You need to know what problem you're solving, what solution you're offering, and who you're doing it for. That is basic marketing strategy 101. So we've covered off one of the processes in your business called marketing. Okay, that's one of the processes in your business. This is why we're answering these questions, so that when you get to the marketing section of your business plan, you have answered a few things. You're also answering here your mission and your vision. You're talking about what makes you so special in your mission and your vision for your business in the world. And when people ask you about your competition, and you'll dive a little more into your competition in your business plan, one of the things you're going to want to know is your NAICS code and what your industry looks like and what the competitors in your industry look like. But already here on this basic one-page business plan, you can think about who are your competitors in this space. You're going to have two kinds of competitors: direct competitors, so people who are already curating fashion and doing that for you. Maybe it's the Instagram influencers who are doing that, or the TikTokers, or whoever that may be. Maybe it is the retail location at Holt Renfrew where you're assigned your personal shopper, and that shopper goes around with you helping you pick your clothes. If you're very, very rich and you've ever shopped Holt Renfrew, most of the experience there is the fact that you get you get to pull up and get your car parked. Then you get to go in, and if you want to, book the personal shopper to help you pick and curate your clothing, you can do that along with a glass of champagne and whatever else you want to do there. And you're there for that particular experience. Maybe that's the experience you're giving to someone online, but that would be a competitor for you, believe it or not, is the bricks and mortar places your customers could potentially go. Uh, so that could be maybe an indirect competitor. If you're doing this online, who are the direct online competitors? I don't know. Maybe Holt Renfrew has an online presence that allows you to be assigned your AI shopper. That's happening now. You get Sassy Sally, the AI Southern Belle shopper, who comes and helps you pick your dress. That's all done through artificial intelligence. Maybe that's it. So think about those things. Is your business going to be online or offline or both? Shockingly, there's lots of businesses in the world that are completely offline. I recently found a millwright for my company for one of my property cabinet doors. I had cabinet doors to deal with. Do you think I could find these people in Instagram? Do you think I could find these people anywhere? It's a millwright shop that does commercial millwright work for large companies. I had to dig and dig and dig to even find them in Google and then show up on their doorstep and go, please help me. I have this small thing to do. And they're busy. They're so busy they don't necessarily have an online presence. I've kindly suggested to them maybe a Google My Business might be helpful. But are you going to be one or both? In today's world, you probably want to be a combination of both if you do have an offline world business. So be aware of that. You will not be alone in your business. Does anyone know successful entrepreneurs? Does anyone know successful entrepreneurs who work alone and make lots and lots of money and don't have helpers? Anyone know that? Know those people who shockingly were able to do all their own accounting, all their own legal work, all of their own bookkeeping, and still go off and have 6 weeks of vacation in a year and do millions of dollars worth of sales and have that as a successful business for themselves. Right. So you're also building a team around you. Okay. So another part of your business processes is the team building, the operational pieces of your business. So part of your operations. So we've talked about marketing. That's one language you're learning now. You've learned some basics of marketing language already. Now we're talking about the basics of operations. Operations are the legal help you get, the help you get from suppliers and advisors helping you operate, the software involved in operating your business. All of those things are operations. The thing that if you were in manufacturing, it's the plant floor. So if you're manufacturing something in the real world, think of operations as the factory floor and all the parts and components that go into getting that product or service at the door from a building it standpoint. There's a lot of background to building your product or service out the door. If you're a consultant like me and you're a business consultant, I rely on lots of different software. I rely on lots of different advisors and suppliers and all of those things to make that work. Who is that team? Another process in your business is the financial processes. I cannot emphasize this enough that it's probably one of the big, that and marketing are the two big ones you build first in a very, like you can go back and apply some lean strategies to your processes over time and make them leaner and leaner and leaner, and that's okay. In operations, you can tweak a lot over time and you don't have to be perfect at it, getting it out the door. But you want to know the money and you want to know the marketing. And you certainly don't want to be doing your own bookkeeping. Who's doing their own bookkeeping right now? If you are in year 3 of your business and you stick up your hand and tell me your bookkeeping, I'm going to slap it virtually. I'm going to give you a virtual slap of your hand. Who here is doing their own bookkeeping? It's okay. You can stick up your hand and say yes. I did my own bookkeeping for the first 3 years in my first business. And that was back in the early 90s when it actually was books. I don't know if people remember those days, but I had an accountant. I swear. I had a courier company in the early 90s. The first company I had was a courier company. I did everything. I even went to pick your part on the weekends, and we put engines in cars on the weekend to keep our drivers on the road. Okay, I worked 80 hours a week and went to pick your park and delivered pizza at night trying to keep this thing going. It was crazy. One of the other things I did in that business when I first started was my own bookkeeping. I did have a friend who suggested to me that one of the things I should do right away, fast, was make sure I at the very least, had an accountant. So I did that. And this accountant was so sweet to me. He was the accountant who smoked a pipe in his office. Literally, I would walk in and he'd either have a cigar or pipe going in his office, which was kind of fun. I think back on it now and I think, wow, I should write a movie. And he would sit down with me and he would say, Linda, you need to know this, little girl. Linda, you should know this. And he was so patient. He sat with me often in the evening, once a year when I schlepped on over with all of my boxes of stuff. And then in year two, he said, Linda, I'll show you how to mark these things into a general journal and a ledger. And he showed me those things. And he would also tell me why I needed to know those things and what I was supposed to look for there. And for a couple of years, I was not getting it very well. And I was struggling with it. And I was always feeling like I'd walk into his office asking these really dumb questions. And it felt really hard, really dumb for a few years. And then all of a sudden, miraculously, after doing it a few years and feeling kind of dumb about it for a few years, I woke up one day and went, oh, this is like second nature. Now I know what I'm talking about and what I'm doing. And suddenly I just found up a bookkeeper and went, I should have done this years ago. Bookkeeper, please do this for me. But what I was able to do with the bookkeeper was I was able to delegate properly to them and tell them what I needed to know from the books. You don't need to know if your account is balancing at the end of the month. That's a bookkeeping skill. Their job is to make sure the debits and credits balance. That's what a bookkeeper does. Your job is to know, have you got the right price structure? Do you have cash flow coming in every month? Where is it coming from? What is your gross margin? What is your net margin? What are the margins on things? What is, what is the revenue stream? Why is there one revenue stream doing better than others? How can you make it one stream more efficient than others? Are you charging the right price? So on and so forth. None of that comes from bookkeeping and knowing whether to debit and credit out at the end of the month. It comes from working with an advisor who is going to help you answer those questions and teach you how to look for those things in your books. That advisor is the accountant. The bookkeeper is the one who does the little data entry bits. The accountant is a CPA. They actually go to school for this, get a designation for it, and then market themselves as business advisors. That's actually what the CPA designation is for, to be business advisors. So use that accountant in the capacity of a business advisor. You want to search for an accountant who is going to say to you when you ask them the interview question, will you work with me to help me build a financial dashboard that I can ask questions about and see what I need to see? If that accountant says, yes, let's have a meeting once a month, let's have a meeting every quarter and go over everything, that's the accountant for you. Doesn't matter what the price is, right? No one buys things on price. Your customers aren't. You shouldn't either. You need to get clear with your accountant what you want. What are you going to do with your pricing? You're going to make sure that you build the cost of having that person on your team into your pricing. Any questions about, because I never want to hear from anyone that they can't afford to have a bookkeeper or an accountant. I couldn't either. And it was the best thing I did as I scrambled to deliver pizza at night to do it when I didn't know anything else. That is the one key in your business to get keyed in and dialed in right away. If you want to know more about this stuff, you can reach out to Carol. Carol, I want you to put your email. I'm going to put you on the spot. Put your email into chat. We have on November 20th, we actually have cash flow certified trainers who will run you through a free cash flow canvas program for like 12 weeks, where you're going to hate us for 12 weeks as we teach you how to dive in free of charge into creating revenue streams and pricing structures and everything else for your business. That launches with us at Business Link November 20th. If this is an area of struggle for you and you don't know what to do, I want you to get in on that program through Business Link, and Carol can talk to you more about it. We're going to actually have the webpage up for it within the week. Carol, I think that's going to go up. So you can email her and she'll let you know when you can sign up for the launch of it. But this is key. Learn these things right away because you're going to price your business properly here. You're going to learn what revenue is, how to price things, and even how to effectively market and pay yourself out of your business. Who here is in business already and getting paid what a proper CEO is supposed to get paid out of their company? Who's getting that right now? Who's getting 100,000 dollars a year and up from their company in their personal bank account after everything else is paid for as a CEO of a small junior company? Because that's what you are now. You're the CEO of a company. That's not what your business is making in sales. That's what you're getting after all the expenses, after the business takes care of everything, and you take that home in your personal pocket. This is what I'm trying to teach you today, is to get there. So processes, marketing, financial, operations. What else do we have as processes? Let's take a look. I think we have a sheet for this, don't we? We have systems. Here's your systems and processes handout. We'll pop that up for you. Then we're going to take a 3-minute break, and then we're going to go into another plan. Okay, so there's your operations. Human resources. After I sold my first company, and I had burnt out from 80 hours a week working in it, and I was miserable and dejected and miserable from it. I remember stomping around just saying to myself over and over again, the next company I start will not have people. There will be no people in the next company I start. I will build a company that doesn't require people. I will have technology. This is 1998, so technology meant, the next level of Windows 95. I will have technology. I will have systems. I will have anything but people. I hated people by the end of my first business because they never showed up to deliver packages at Christmas time and -30 when nobody's cars worked, and we were overworked and overwhelmed, and no one showed up to do any of the driving. Everybody's car broke down all the time. Nothing was working for me, and I just vowed it was their fault. And then when I started the second company I started, and I stumbled accidentally across a business mentor for that company, I remember saying to him, yeah, I'm building this company right now. Because he asked, he says, oh, Linda, I see you in the elevator every day. What are you doing? And I said, this is what I'm doing. And I'm doing it without people. And he was like, what the heck made you think you were going to build a business without people? How big do you think you're possibly going to get that way? And I'm like, I don't care. I hate them. And he's like, well, Linda, if the people weren't doing the things they're supposed to do for you, that's your fault. No one had ever bothered to say that to me. It was my fault. My HR didn't work in my company. Really? I thought it was my employees' fault. So I had to learn to take ownership of HR. This is one of my big weaknesses for me. It was a big weakness for me. I had to learn how to do this, just like I had to learn how to do finance, which is another big weakness for me. In fact, most of it was a huge weakness for me. Marketing for me at one point was, here is my rate sheet. If you need a new courier, call me. That was marketing for me. So just to let you know, you're not going to start out knowing everything. I didn't. Certainly. But this is a big one I had to learn along the way. And it took me a couple years to do this one quite well. But I accessed books on it. I learned how to do employee interviews. I learned how to put HR systems into place, things like employee guidebooks, job descriptions, basic stuff I hadn't even thought about in the first company. Oh, people need a job description. That might be helpful. They need to have expectations and rewards and all sorts of things. Gee, I hadn't thought of that with all these drivers working for me. Like none of it. I thought of none of it. So if you have people in your company, get some help building some HR systems. If you go to bdc.ca, I want you to get to bdc.ca, the Business Development Bank of Canada. And I did some contracting work and consulting work with them for about 4 years from 2016 to 2020. And I was part of a team and we built all of these advisory services for the BDC. One of them was HR. What a great program that was. That's my favorite out of all of them because it matched you with a consultant as you got your BDC loan and you could actually build an entire HR program for your company in 3 months as part of the lending you got from BDC. But BDC, if you go there and you go to the Entrepreneur's Toolkit, this is part of your resource library for yourself. Read the articles on HR, read those things. And if HR is your struggle as a process in your business, try to get a handle on that pretty quickly as well. Okay. This is very applicable to people who are in expansion and growth. I know we have 1 or 2 people on the call here today who are in expansion and growth. This is a key part of the expansion growth piece for your business. So whether you're in retail, whether you're in restaurant, whether you're in online, no matter what you're in, this system is about inspiring and motivating and dealing with employees and making sure they are a well-oiled cog in your machine delivering the services at the door. Who here has walked into a restaurant, walked into a retail store, and someone's chewing bubblegum behind the counter, going, I don't care about what it is you buy from me, or you're not quite sure what's going on in the kitchen, or the bathrooms in the restaurant haven't been cleaned in 10 years, and yet you're expected to pay good money for the food coming out of the kitchen. That is a problem with management and HR. Having a background in restaurant business, I can tell you that is a problem with the store management, the restaurant management, and how they train the employees. Okay. All right, so there's your systems handout. We've walked through these startup guides. So let's talk about what we've walked through and then let's take a 2-minute break and then we're going to do lean template. So we've walked through first steps in business resources. We've walked through the first 1-page plan in the small business startup guide. I've checked you in on the systems handout. So you've got that in your suite of things. You have, and you can take the 90-minute course we have for free on the business model canvas. If you sign up for the business link newsletter, you can learn how to build out the business model canvas. If you'd like to do that, it's a visual business planner. That's in your handouts. And last but not least, we're going to walk through the lean plan template. And before we do that, we're going to go on a 2-minute break. Everyone can have a break, grab a coffee. And then I'm going to pull up the lean plan template. And I want someone else or someone to be inspired to participate in this exercise with me. And while we're on break, if we have anyone here who has questions for me, I'm just going to sit here sipping coffee and you can type a question to me in chat. 1, 2, 3, go. See you at 11:41. I'm going to pop on over to bbc.ca. The Business Development Bank of Canada is the bank for entrepreneurs. Every G7 country, except for the US, has a entrepreneurial bank for their small business startups. This is yours. This is actually not a startup bank. Who here is in, so I'm filling in time while people are on break. Feel free to be on break. Who here is in expansion mode? I forget who said they were expanding. I think it was Kirsten. Kirsten is expanding. So the 2 team members you want to bring into your business right now to help you with expansion, actually a few team members to help you with expansion, because here's where you need the money. You need money for expansion. You're probably going to need to take on debt for expansion. That happens. The way you do that is by aligning your team of advisors to help you prepare for that. So the team of advisors who help you prepare for that is your accounting and bookkeeping team, who will make sure you're up to date with your tax filings for your corporation. Make sure you have at least 2 to 3 years of financials for your corporation done and complete and the tax returns filed. Those are the team members there. You're sitting down with your bank account, commercial bank account advisor at whatever bank you're using. and you're talking about, now that I have 3 years under my belt in my business and everything's filed and up to date, and you've had a chance to talk with your advisors about what the cash flow is looking like and the retained earnings, and you have an understanding there of what's going on, and your accountant and your banker have challenged you to look at what's working and what's not working in your cash flows, you're now going to spend the next amount of time building out a presentation that works for a lender like this. You're going to make sure you've acquired whatever you can out of your local bank, so one of the big five or whatever credit union you're using, and saying things like, do we have a corporate card? Do we have a corporate line of credit that's in the company name and not needing to be personally guaranteed by me, the business owner? And do I have all of that in place? What is it I need the money for to expand? Is it working capital? Is it technology investment? Is it debt repayment? What is this work? What is this money for? Because you're going to have to answer that question as you go to a bank like BDC. They're going to work with you there and say, well, looks like you need some working capital. It keeps the doors open while you're growing and buying supplies and hiring people so that you can pay for those things while you wait for your receivables to come in. That's working capital. Maybe what you need is an investment in new technology. You need to invest in that development of the app for your business or the development of the software piece for your business. Maybe you're looking for a technology loan. Maybe you're looking for a blend of a few things. That's what the advisors at BDC are going to help you do as you get into expansion mode. So you need to meet with your local commercial bank account manager, your advisor there, and you need to say, I now want to pivot and expand my business. I would like to work with you. You're my free advisor. Let's work together to figure out what I can get here and what I need to do to access lending from the BDC. Okay, so that's what they do. This is the branch I was part of when I was working with them. This is all the different things they're able to do and work with you on as you access their lending. You'll only access this stuff if you access the lending, and they'll build in the cost of this as part of the lending. And then this is what you can access already. You can access the toolkit, the entrepreneurial toolkit, all the webinars, all the research and studies they do, templates, ebooks, everything in here for you to access. So bookmark the BDC and get into the Entrepreneur's Toolkit. And there's lots and lots of resources here for you. So that's part of your education and career development, is that stuff. Okay, who wants to be a guinea pig for the lean plan template? Here we go. I did not take a break. How does that happen? Okay. So Kirsten, you're in expansion. I'm going to unmute you if you're willing to participate here. I see a lot of other people here who here, I'd like you to stick up your hand if you haven't been participating so far. Stick up your hand if you're in idea. I just want to get an idea of who's in idea. Or type it into chat. So Loretta, are you in idea? Are you in startup? Are you in growth? Lee Pei, are you in idea, startup, or growth? Jania, idea, startup, or growth? Janie, idea, startup, or growth? Carlos, idea, startup, or growth? Anna, ideas, ideas. Got it. Ha, I got you talking. Ideas. Okay. So if you're generating ideas, this is the lean template to use. You should be filling this out in about 20 minutes or less. If you have ideas that you're thinking about and you just need to get them down on paper to see whether or not you want to pursue them, this is the plan to use. You don't want to write a 30-page business plan just because you have an idea. You want to write the 20-minute business plan with your idea and then decide after you've done it whether or not you want to pursue it. That's when you dig into the weeds. Okay. So this is for you. This is also for you if you're pivoting your business. This is also for you if you're expanding your business and just want to throw those ideas down on paper and not have to write a big giant 30-page plan with cash flows and everything else. So let's do it. Describe your business in one sentence. We've got 15 minutes left. We're going to do it. So for those of you generating ideas, what do you do and who do you do it for? That is your identity. We've talked a bit on the other plan about that. What is it you do and who are you doing it for? So you are a online fashion curation company that helps people build and curate a feminine wardrobe without the need to locate all of those things, without having to go through all of the searching and all of the digging to find those just so pieces for their wardrobe. That's your identity. Maybe. I don't know. I'm doing that off the cuff. Or you are the counseling, the mental health counseling service that understands the unique needs of first responders and their families responding to crisis in communities. And you are keeping them out of crisis, out of their own mental health crisis, by developing highly specialized programs that fit their distinct needs. Maybe that's your identity. What are the problems that you'll solve for people with your business idea? I don't know. Maybe your idea is to have a food truck. What kind of food are you going to deliver out of the food truck, and who's going to eat it? So we are creating a food truck business specializing in First Nations food prepared in healthy ways. And we are delivering this food on nation to customers who understand the importance of fresh community food. And we are traveling across the province and delivering that with a message of what that food is and the importance of it in all communities across Alberta. Maybe that's your identity. And maybe the problem you're solving is lack of knowledge in outside communities. And maybe the problem you're solving within the community is lack of access to healthy food that comes to them. If you've got a food truck, you're going to them, or you're going on site to community events within the community. And maybe you're maybe you're just solving that need, having access to it on site, cooked and prepared by people who understand how it's done. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's your solution. You may have several target markets for customers, but you know it's not going to be everybody. I don't want to see anyone write in this little section here. My target market is women between the ages of 20 and 55. Are you kidding me? I'm tired of being everybody's target market. Oh, wait, I'm slightly over 55. I no longer fit there. Oh, now I'm a totally different target market, targeted by totally different people. Okay, that's not your target market. Target markets are ideal clients, people who might really understand and respect what it is you're selling to them and are willing to pay you good money for it. So you need to understand how they live, what they eat, how they think, what's going on in their lives. It's people who will respond with emotion to what you are selling them. Okay, so it's more than just their age. It's more than just their genders. It's more than any of that or their color. It is all about how they think and live and breathe. This is called psychographics. So you want to get to know them in that way. Who's your competition? Who's already solving the problem? I also don't want to hear people saying we have no competition. Oh my God, really? Other people are solving the problem for your customer, maybe differently than you would, or maybe your customer is seeking out a solution to their problem somewhere else from someone else in a totally different way. That is your competition. That's indirect competition. Okay. I'm building an online networking platform. No one else has thought of this thing that I'm doing, or I'm connecting people in new ways. Okay, that's true. Maybe you don't have someone around you locally connecting people in new ways online, but you have people around you connecting businesses in other ways. They're your competition. Sales channels are things that, like, how are you going to sell this stuff? People, if I'm almost wanting to put a sixth process into your business, which is called sales. That is different than marketing. Marketing is how you get leads, how you get people interested. For those of you who want to know about marketing and want to build your library on marketing, I would like you to go out and get the book Duct Tape Marketing. And Carol, can you Google duct tape marketing and put the link into chat as well? But the duct tape marketing book is a simple to read book that talks about how to build a marketing strategy and plan for your small business. So you've got the E-Myth Revisited, which is the first book in your library. The second one is Duct Tape Marketing, which will give you the language of marketing and talk about all of these things and how to implement it in a small business environment. Okay. Marketing is about getting leads. So it's the way you go out in the world and get people to know you, like you, and trust you. That's marketing. Selling is how you get the cash register drawer to open. That's the people or the systems or the things you build into your business that gets those people who know you, like you, and trust you to open up their wallets. That's sales. What is the process you have in place to make a sale? I just went to the Canada Women's Expo trade show this past weekend and sat down at a booth where I had a full makeover done. And this gal started out with a whole set of goops and creams and LED lighting tools and everything else, infrared tools, everything, this whole system. If you were to buy it from her start to finish, probably would have cost me 15 grand. Of course, she kept dropping the price and firming up my eyes and doing different things and saying exclusively for you and blah, blah, blah. By the time I left there, the price had dropped to 3,500, which is still probably a high retail price. But she had a whole sales process in place, a whole team in place. And I bet they were generating 100 grand in sales at that show just from the way they were positioning their sales. So if you want to see salespeople in action and how well they sell and how well you could sell in your business, stop over at a booth at any of these expo shows and watch the demos. Watch the people who are doing the demos and selling you the squeegees, selling you the sponges, selling you the whatever at the country fair. Those people make hundreds of thousands of dollars in a year doing that. And that is the process of sales. You may or may think, seriously, you're trying to sell me what? And blah, blah, blah. But it's a numbers game and they do very well at it. And you need to know that too. That's exactly what your business is going to do. Maybe it's doing it online, got a process for it. It's, oh, here's us. We're on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Look at these beautiful dresses. You've got influencers going. You've got everything happening. That's getting people getting to know you. That's step one of your process. Next is getting them to like you. Maybe you, out of all of that, say, hey, sign up for a session and we'll, have a bit of fun of best and worst dressed. Getting them, they get to know you, they get to like you. You bring them into a webinar, you get them to sign up for your newsletter, you get them to do something from all of that activity. You still haven't opened the cash register. They're just getting to know you and getting to like you. And now they're getting to trust you. Now you're getting the testimonials from people who bought things from you. That's how you're building trust. You're putting things on display. You're getting them to sign up for your newsletter. You're, getting them to buy a small item from you, perhaps. That's trust. But you want them to get the big wardrobe from you and to hire you to do that for you. So the next part of the process is, how do I take them from being on my email list to buying from me? That's your sales channels. All the activities you're doing to generate the interest and the trust is happening behind the scenes. So please get that book. It's a big part of what you do. What are your revenue streams? Where's the money coming from? So if you're in idea phase of your business, where will the money come from? And again, you're doing this very quick on the fly at this stage. I'm going in depth with you, but you're doing this in 20 minutes. What are your expenses going to be? Just list what you think expenses are going to be. That's your software, that's your people, that's your recurring subscriptions to things, that's the home office, that's the stuff that you pay for. You're an expense to your business. What do you need to make out of the business? You're an expense at this stage. All of those things. And what are some milestones you need to hit to keep going in the next few months? Who's going to be on your team? And where are you going to find partners and resources? Okay. Oh, JD, you did the training with Norma. Were you there when I did the training with Norma? Maybe you did. Same kind of thing, right? You did the training with Norma. I'm not sure if you did it when I was there doing it with her, but that's great. Okay. Use this if you're in idea stage and you don't know where to begin. Okay. What else? Carol, am I missing anything? Should I open it up to questions? I should open it up to questions. We have 2 minutes left. Let's do it.
Sure. I'm just going to throw a few extra links, like where to find our videos and a couple others. So, and I do apologize for all the links on that last book. I kind of got lost there. So my apologies, everyone. But I'm going to stick some links in that will help you further. But
If you want to start to dive in, once you have your idea underway like this, and you want to start to dive into, gee, I just need to research. I need to do some research, on target markets and competition in industry. And please sign up for the 90-minute session on market research, because I'll actually do some demos there on how you can do some market research using Prism and using some databases and understanding, how to identify yourself in the marketplace and how to identify yourself to get money for things and so on and so forth. So that's what we do in that session. And in that session, we also teach you how to then go out and access Carol and the market research department that's free to you from Business Link to do what you're supposed to do here is build your partners and resources. We would be a partner and resource for you that would do all of that heavy lifting for your market research. Once we teach you what it is and how to do it and what it's all about, you can actually approach our market research department to do it all for you, because you'll have an idea of what you're supposed to do there. I'm opening it up to questions, so type your questions into chat, everyone. If you've got questions or you want to just go over something, I'm happy to stay an extra 5 minutes or so to do that, if people want to do that before we break for lunch.
Linda, if we got a few minutes, could you maybe show them how to book an appointment with a strategist from our website?
Sure. Here we go. So here's the website. Been redesigned recently. So there you go. Resources,
It's under
services. Here we are. Market research. Down to market research go. Make informed decisions. What is market research? Why is it so important? Our services. Get started. Woohoo! That's all you
So
need to do.
yeah, you fill out the form, hit submit, and then it'll take you to a calendar to book an appointment with myself or Barry for market research. And then if you wanted to meet with a strategist, you could still go back to all services and then go to business advice. And you can book an appointment with any of one of our 10 strategists where they can talk to you either in person or through a virtual consultation and help you out with some of that idea stage, validating your business, market research. I mean, there's a ton of resources that our strategists have and can help you source out and give you advice. Most of our strategists are also business owners. Myself, I've owned my own business for 35 years, so I understand the operations and I understand the challenges. So, yeah, book an appointment. We'll be there to help you out.
Thanks, Carol. That's great information for everyone to have as well. This is your government taxpaying dollars at work. Same with resources from the BDC. That's a Crown corporation. That's your government tax dollars at work for you. All of these resources are at work for you. Your job is to put them to work, get us to work. So ask, ask, ask. No questions are too dumb when you start a business or when you continue on with your business as well. So that's what all of us are here for. All right. Thank you everyone for joining today. I'm going to leave the links open here so everyone can capture the links you've sent. So for 2 more minutes, I'm going to leave this open so everyone can click through the chat and make sure they've bookmarked the links that have been provided in chat. And you've got Carol's email address as well. And there will be a follow-up survey to this that's just automatically sent to you. And I think that's it. Thank you everyone for joining. Thanks, Carol and Julian. Thanks for being our background guru for us. And looking forward to seeing everybody put their business to work for them.